I was not taught to enjoy life as a kid. Instead, I was taught to worry. I remember in the 80s, the questions were always about, do I have enough friends? My mom wanted me to call other friends and invite them to hang out with me on the weekends. If there was a field trip, she would want me to call and get someone to sit next to me or agree to sit next to me on the bus the next day so I wouldn't be sitting alone. There was this tremendous fear over me not being socialized and having enough friends and fitting in. In high school, the worry was Amy's not going to go to the college that she deserves to go to or could go to. If I brought home tests that had a score of 95, the question was always, why wasn't it 100? Which question or two did you miss? Why weren't you perfect? Because you need to get your GPA up so that you can go to a good college. In college, when I switched my major to political science and philosophy, the question was, well, what about med school? What about law school? Isn't this going to not set you up to get a real job or a good job? When I was out of college and working for a bank, the question was, when are you going to go to grad school? Don't you need to get an MBA so that you can rise up and become more senior? In the 2010 to 2020 zone, I left a couple of companies, moved to other companies, and a couple times there was a gap in between that. I just took a few months off. I wanted to write. I wanted to have an art gallery opening. I wanted to travel. And the concern was always, aren't you nervous that you're not going to be able to get another job from a position of unemployment? Shouldn't you not be putting a gap on your resume like this? When I left my last job to go independent and become my own coach, there was major concerns over, my gosh, you've made it so far in this corporate environment. Are you sure that striking out on your own is a good idea? Isn't that going to be really difficult and hard? And even when I published my first book, my mother was curious to know why I wasn't going to colleges and universities with it so that it could sell better, sell thousands and thousands of copies and be more well-known. What I've been taught throughout my life, and I wrote about this in the second book, by the way, if any of this sounds familiar and someone wants to read it and relate, I would love that. But it was never quite good enough. I always had to do better. And my entire life has been about performance and achievement and accomplishment. And it's been really hard to just stay calm and relaxed and not be worrying about something at all times. I've had to actually practice that. And what I want you to know, and what I've realized over the last few years, is that even though I thought that anxiety and that worry and that nervousness and that desire to always do a little more and have a little more and be a little more, I thought all of that was propelling me towards success. It wasn't. It was there. It maybe didn't stand in my way of success, but there are multiple ways to be successful. And people who are calm and they enjoy the present moment, and they pause and they stop and smell the roses and they have gratitude for where they're at in life, they can be just as successful and do just as well of those that are brought up with this kind of high achievement family or household. Recently, I've actually decided to change the narrative and change what I value. And I've changed the questions I'm asking myself to feel good about myself. It isn't, hey, how much money do you make anymore? What is your title? How many people do you manage? What major corporate bank are you working for? What is your latest award that you got at either all hands event at your company or in one of your boards or one of your clubs? The questions I'm asking now are, have I challenged myself a little bit? Have I viewed my mistakes and failings as learning opportunities? Have I had fun recently? Have I been good to the people around me that I care most about? Have I made time for connection and rest and healing and recovery and learning? Do I feel good about where I'm at? It's no longer this sensation about people pleasing and achievement and the number of awards or plaques that I can put on a wall. It's about slowing down and honoring myself, asking myself what feels good, having fun, enjoying where my life is at, and deciding for myself what success is. Every day now, I get to teach these principles to other people, and I get to help other people who are dealing with anxiety or worry or fear or nervousness really ask themselves, where do you think that comes from? And is it serving you? And Why do you think you're doing it? And is it useful? Could you potentially grow something else there instead? I've got to be real honest with you guys. Over the last couple of years, I've become a skier, and I have never thought I would enjoy sitting on the side of a mountain and drinking a beer as enjoyable use of a day. And just recently, we went and we were sitting, we had brought 2 beers, David and I, in a backpack for ourselves just to enjoy at some point. And we found the most wonderful spot at the top of the mountain, overlooking this white, snow-covered landscape. And we sat there and drank a beer. And I used to worry about drinking beer because beer has calories, and I don't need calories because calories might make my waistline expand, and then I won't be as beautiful by societal standards. So I really got to kind of watch it. And I sat there and I thought, God, I'm enjoying myself right now. Beer tastes good. I've overcome fears to be sitting here. I've actually gone down blues that are really steep and have moguls and black diamonds, and I've pushed myself and I've grown as a person, and I am darn proud of that. And it was such a good feeling to sit there and enjoy that beer and realize how far I've come. What my question is for you today is, how much are you allowing anxiety, fear, worry, nervousness to drive you? Could you potentially still be driven to exceed and do well, but with love and respect and compassion and kindness instead? Do you have feelings of inadequacy or imposter syndrome that you think might be serving you because they make you work harder, but instead they're actually holding you back and they're creating an undue amount of stress for you? Do you people please and do things because you want to make other people happy and proud of you, and you like to have stuff and you want to be seen a certain way? Or are you doing things because you really love them yourself? Are you following your own heart? Those are the questions that I started asking myself in the last couple of years, instead of all the, well, when are you going to do X next questions I got asked in the 80s and the 90s when I was younger. And as I made that shift, what I can tell you is that I'm a lot happier and more fulfilled. So if any of this rings a bell, if you grew up in a perfectionist household, always driven to do more and be more, and you now have taken some of those traumas into adulthood, grab my second book. Let's talk about it. I love these concepts. And I know that the way on the other side of a self-reflection is a better life. So with that, everybody make a great day. Enjoy it, and do something for you today that really lights you up inside.